Kris.
Hi mate, how you doing? You alright?
I'm good. We've finally got together on a site.
Yes, definitely.
So Kris, first of all,
good.
I want you to introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Obviously you are Kris from Money Mates, but let's give a little bit of background to yourself, mate.
Yeah, so Kris from Money Mates. So what are Money Mates? We essentially are a mortgage and insurance brokerage, which sounds really boring. But we kind of help builders and construction workers kind of aspire to be able to buy the houses they're building. And I've done a whole number of different things across the years. And one of those is, started working for a bank, which back in 2008. You chat to someone on a night out and they'll be like, "What do you do for a living?" Well, serial killer, politician, estate agent was all much better than working in finance because the credit crunch and things like that. So, but that kind of taught me a lot of stuff and sort of how not to do it and want to be able to kind of go right. Well, actually, what really stuck out for me when I sort of started my career was putting the client right at the heart of everything you do, because essentially they're the ones that pay the bills, and having kind of took the leap to go self-employed and build a business around sort of 10 years ago. It's been really good because, well, your clients are your clients and you put them at the front of everything you do. But our sort of specialist sort of subject, if you're a mastermind as such, is the construction trades, and the fact that it's the demographic that, to be fair, we're quite like-minded guys. Most of our friends and clients, probably a good 40% of our clients are in construction. It's the area we can help them the most. I think there's a lot of miseducation when it comes to sort of what you can do when you're buying a house and things like that. But that's kind of the boring part of our side.
It does sound boring when you talk about finance, I know, but at the end of the day, it's something we actually spoke about. It is the most important investment anybody's going to make in their life.
Yeah.
Majority of people, right? 99% of them will.
Yeah.
But they all aspire to get a property. So it's the one big goal that you're helping people achieve. But I've got to ask, why construction? Because it is the hardest industry to get finance, right? Being self-employed with up and down work.
Yeah.
I think it's very commendable by taking on this industry.
Yeah,
I think it needs more help.
We do it from a number of different perspectives. Financial education, which I'm sure we'll probably go on to in a bit. We are really passionate about, and I think, like you said, construction gets hard, a bad name for itself. It's arguably one of the toughest industries out there, physically, mentally, emotionally. And I think some of the stuff is, getting finance in construction is hard. Well, actually, we find it easy, and I suppose the thing is that it's the ability to be able to kind of understand how to do it. Christ, I'll try my hand at anything construction-wise. If you go and have a look at my house and you can see, right, well, he's obviously done that. A builder's done that because, that's what they're good at. Mm-hmm. We're kind of good at making sure that we understand things like, self-employed income. How does it work? Because for those that are old enough listening to this, will probably remember Little Britain, where she'd go in and go, computer says no. Most people go straight to the bank and go, right, that bank doesn't understand self-employed income, for example, whether it's limited company, sole trader, CIS workers, or whatever. And what we find by using us, using us to sort of having someone that basically understands that makes it a lot easier for people. So yes, they might find it hard because I suppose one of the things is they don't know where to go, they don't know where to turn. Whether that's buying a house or getting finance on some equipment, asset finance or whatever. If you're not in that kind of environment, it's hard to sort of know where to turn. Similar to, say, for instance, someone, people always ask me, "Oh, does anyone know a plumber or this or that?" And I suppose, you can be passed to certain people and they might not be the specialist in what they do. Yeah. And I suppose that's kind of why, as well as the fact that they're the ones we can help the most, really, and that's just from a mortgage perspective. And I think, obviously, being self-employed, well, if you generally speaking, as a whole industry, the majority are either sole trade limited company CIS, you get obviously some people that work on the books, but is things like, well, if the buck stops with you, the buck stops with you. You don't get any sick pay, and I think we're able to help with that. As well as that, moving into say the educational piece is a case of, well, we're really passionate in not just going, yeah, we can get you in my house, get in your house, you do this, whatever. It's helping those people that might not have been taught about money, because
get them to understand what they're earning and where their money's going and what that can actually do for them for their future, right?
Absolutely.
It's you look at the construction industry. We've chosen the construction industry with Speak to focus on because it is the worst industry globally, but we're looking at the UK right now, and statistics are scary. 2 people every single day killing themselves in construction, 4 times more likely to take their own lives. It's crazy stats. We know that if we can bring a natural solution to this industry, we can make it replicable across other industries. And so instantly when me and you connected, it was instantly like, wow, okay, you're helping construction workers financially. The amount of reports that we've now done, the data that we've gathered, it's incredible how many people are struggling right now financially.
Yeah, and I think that's massive. I think I've had looked at some of the statistics from the mental health perspective within kind of construction. I mean, you're pretty much nearly twice as likely to suffer from mental health in construction as you would a white collar job. The bigger piece within that is that actually probably over 50% of those worries, and I think did a bit of like sort of digging into this, say for instance generically, I think it's around sort of 50 to 60% of people's mental health sort of concerns are finance related.
100%.
Different sort of trades within the construction, say plaster, I think I looked at, plasterers potentially are 92% of their problems are money related. Obviously, we'll make a joke about electricians being absolutely fine because they're, wiping their ass with £20 notes, but
in the warm.
In the warm. But I think with regards to that, one of the things we also do is it's not just a case of come to us, you want to buy a house, whatever. Well, if you're not ready now, we can kind of help you progress, and it's the ability to go rather than just computer says no. We'll discuss that with you and go, right, well, if we do these steps together, in whether it's a month, 2 months, 3 years, I've had certain clients I've had conversations with and said, look, you're not ready at the moment, but if you do that, and so for us to see how much we've helped that person kind of grow, be able to achieve their dream is amazing.
Better than any commission you get from a bank, right? It really is.
The help first and building a business commissions later. I think for us it's that's where people in construction really see the value of it, because they're like, well, I didn't realise I could do that.
100%, and there is little techniques, just to give a bit of clarity with what I was doing prior to coming into the natural wellness space. It was financial literacy, something I'd done for 4 or 5 years. The stats that you talk about, 50% of suicides are due to financial stress, and that was back then, so maybe that number's creeped up, probably has. And so I see the need in what you're doing. It's what you just touched on there. Is the point is that you turn up to these sites, we just seen 25 people there, right? Now, who needs a mortgage right now? Well, not everyone not need a mortgage right now. Some people believe that they can never get a mortgage because my credit score's so bad, but it's actually just meeting people where they're at and then giving them a stepping stone on, right, if you do this from now to then, and then from then to now to another milestone, in 3 months, maybe 3 years, depending on, but you will show people that there is a real pathway to becoming, say, financially free, but at least financially comfortable, where you do save money and you do have investments and things like this, right?
It's just being able to have someone to kind of hold your hand. Or actually go, look, here's the light at the end of the tunnel. If you walk this way, it will happen. And I think that's, because the system's broken.
Completely. It's set up, I believe, for us to fail, right? They're earning money off debt. I don't want to go.
Tim Four hats.
Let's put it on. But look, I don't want to go down that road. But this system is fundamentally broken. Mental health system, financial system. It is all broken. So it's up to us to bring the real solution, right?
100%. And I think you obviously discussed and touched on the sort of financial literacy side. I think this is one of the things we kind of immediately aligned on is that, well, I'm the same, and I think is something that we've been passionate about kind of delivering over the last sort of, I mean, COVID completely kiboshed it for us at the moment because, you know, when Sunak went, oh, no stamp duty, and everyone decided that they wanted to buy a house again, and it was, you know, we became, but, you know, when do you ever learn about money?
You know.
You know, you don't get up in the morning and go, right, you know what, I'm going to flick through TikTok and go, right, I'm going to, you know, or if, say, for instance, you come from a family whereby mum and dad didn't have any financial literacy, or it might be a single parent family, or, you know, because I tell you what, the schools don't really do it. And I think, you know, that for us is one of our passions of what we're kind of looking to also deliver as well, is helping kids understand money better.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I've got friends, colleagues, you know, clients who, I mean, when they left school at 18, they'd rather go and piss it up the wall and buy a bottle of Grey Goose.
And who does it when you're 18? You're just young and wild,
because
right?
you don't know any better.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, that's one of our things. So kind of watch this space for next year and beyond, is that we want to kind of roll that out to sort of, you know, school age children, sort of 11 to 16, because actually we give a shit. You know, we care about the people and actually the outcomes. So
it's just you're up and uphill struggle with getting into the schooling system, because the education system is so rigged and you got so many red tape and it's very hard to break. But you've got to do it. You've got to put the efforts in, right? And so it's all good saying, oh, but the system's broken. They're not going to allow us. What you just sit and you bend over and just allow them to carry on.
It's kind of, you know, a lot of people kind of sort of settle for the same shit different day.
100%.
And I think for us, it's even if, say, for instance, we make a sort of tiny scratch in the whole system, well, that's better than doing bugger all, I think, you know, in activity. And I think hopefully it helps people, because, you know, one of the reasons being is, you know, through being a mortgage broker or financial advisor or whatever different things I've done through my career, the one thing that stood out to me is that you'd have someone come to you and go, right, yeah, in a position now, managed luckily to save a deposit, want to buy a house, right, well, that's fine, we can look, you know, we can have a, you know, get them sorted, but they're paying an extra 1% or 1.5% because they got their credit rating up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how is that fair? And it was kind of the root cause. It was like, well, they didn't know any better. And I think, so actually, it's about whether that's kind of, as you're an adult, as you're a child, I think that's a real passion of mine, because I think it's just, it's unfair that people haven't got that, and people, you know, I mean, if you're going to be an architect or a structural engineer, you know, Pythagoras theorem and all this, you're great, but you leave school learning the internal angles of a triangle, but you haven't got a clue how a credit card works, or you know, what does council tax work
100%. And the fact is, like, you know, you expect to learn from the school where you're studying, right?
Yeah.
But if they're not going to teach you those life lessons, who do you learn from? Well, you learn from mum and dads, and most blue collar working class families don't know how to manage their money. Like my old man, he never had a bank account until like 5-6 years ago. My mum's lived off a credit card all her life, and so I'm expected to learn from them when they got really no clue how to manage their finances properly, or make money work for them, or utilise a strong credit profile. Like, I never knew about any of this until I found myself in debt. So, like you said, is where do you learn? You only learn from your failures. Once you get into failure of debt, you then, in a 6-year cycle of computer says no. What you said.
It's kind of fell fast, fell hard, and I think that's the thing, is allowing people to kind of have that knowledge. And I think, well, let's watch this space, see what 2026 brings.
Good. Yeah. And look, you see more and more people getting mortgages later on in life. I think the average is now like 40 years old. Someone's getting a mortgage. Is that right?
I mean, it's not far off that. I mean, I think one statistic that's come out over the last couple of years was, I think it was second to Nationwide, Lloyds Bank, the biggest lender in the UK, or second biggest lender in the UK, is the bank of mum and dad. And it's like, because obviously, you know, going back to the system is broken, and people struggling to get on the property ladder. But I think, parents are more and more likely to help, and you know, they're in a position where they've got kind of properties that they've had since, you know, I mean, obviously back 1980s, you could buy a 2-bed semi for about 25 grand. it's hard. It's hard for younger people now to be able to do it, and I think it's even harder if you don't have the right help. I think that's the important message, is that getting the right support.
But what you said is that handhold. It's you know, not doing it alone. It's having someone to hold you accountable. It's everything that we do with Speak, right? It's, you know, we can give you all the information. We've got gurus that are going to educate you, but the fact is, you ain't going to get better unless you actually put the work in yourself.
Yeah.
Whether it be investment into a bit of therapy, whether it's, you know, going out and going for a run, or getting in nature, or spending 10 minutes to do a guided meditation, or maybe doing 10 minutes doing breath work. All these things we know, if you do it, it's going. But sometimes you need someone there to be like,
but
give you that.
You need accountability.
Exactly.
And
that's what you do with the finance side of things. This is why a partnership between Speak and Moneymates now makes so much sense, because, like I say, I already knew about the financial stress and what that leads to in terms of suicide and poor mental health. We needed, you know, we're very much 2026, we're looking at a big vision, you've got a big vision, why not work together and see if we can help actually bring some real impact to this space.
And I think, do you know what, it's, I mean, I'll be open and frank here, about 10 years ago, I thought mental health was kind of a facade, an excuse, you know. And it was really naive of me, because I suppose it's all I'd ever known. You know, and you're a product of your environment. And I think it was only until about sort of 8-10 years ago I was like, shit, you know what? Yeah, this is a struggle. And actually seeing that journey myself, like, this is why you guys really, really resonate with us, because one, you deal with, you know, our target market, our clients that we actually have day to day. And we look and go, well, actually, we can help on this side, you can help on that side, because actually for them, it just means that, you know, they've got that comfort blanket. You know, if we can help them from their money perspective, and you guys from the, because, well, it's all, the synergy there is fantastic, and I think it's a massive passion about us, because, you know, again, you know, a few people in the team and people I know, and mental health is a massive, well, 1 in, you know, 2 people a day in the construction industry. That's just not good enough. Like,
it's shocking. It's so sad. And it really is. And, you know, this is the industry that we've chose to tackle and to work in. And you see it. You know, once you start to actually get involved in the industry and you start to speak to, you know, some seniors of different companies, and you think, you're the health and safety guy, you don't give a fuck. You just don't care.
No.
And you can see that you don't. Others do, don't get me wrong.
I think, and I think that is that an industry issue, because, you know, say for instance, I mean, you know, I've got people I know that work in HR and all the red tape, and, you know, you go into, I mean, we're in a welfare unit today, right? You've got HSE poster up on the wall and all of that. If you go into an office, you've got a cable, you've got Karen going, you can't do that, you're going to shred boat. It's so heavily regulated, whereas I suppose actually is construction and the mental health piece. I mean, we've obviously that out there today, and, you know, you ask the question. I mean, it's hard to turn around and go, yeah, I've struggled with my mental health, because.
And just sorry to stop, but that's why I asked that question, just to get a reaction that no one's putting their hand up here, but I know you've all struggled, because we all struggle. We all do.
Like, no one moans in construction. I mean, you get your general moans, but like, I mean, Jesus, if you go to an office in Bristol, like, Steve's like, oh, it's too cold in here, and then, like, you know, so turn the aircon on. I'm like, oh, that's cute, you've got aircon. Have you ever gone for a piss in a Portland on a Wednesday in December? It's like, do you know what I mean? It's, and I think, but it's having more, you know, people like yourselves that are going out and speaking to people in the industry, and this is why, you know, I want to be a massive advocate of it, because obviously we'll, you know, deal with people that you guys haven't sort of even considered as of yet, and so it means that we can kind of promote you guys to go, look, well, actually guys, these guys want to help. It's not a case of, right guys, we're going to have to, you know, sit in a room and talk to each other and really uncomfortable. It can be done anonymously, because you know, I've had people I've known that have taken their own lives, and you know, the scary thing is, in 15-20 years I've been in the industry, cancer, for example, used to be 1 in 4 people have cancer at some point in their life. That's now 1 in 2. I almost think that suicide, if I turn around to you and said, do you know anyone that's been affected by cancer? You'll go, yeah. Do you know anyone that's been affected by suicide? If you ask the sort of majority, that number's getting fewer, like smaller and smaller. So like it'd be like that's the new cancer, 1 in 4 now, 1 in 2.
They reckon by 2030 it's going to be the leading cause of death worldwide. Is suicide. It's going to beat cancer in 4 years. What is the state of the world in globally for that number to take your own life against a disease or for some sort of it's incredible. The stats are mental, and it's like it's something needs to happen now. And like what we do is real education around finances, because 50% of suicide is money. Right? Okay, so let's work away how we can upskill people with their own personal finances. All right, but what else is it you can do? Well, we're promoting the things that companies ain't marketing, because the fact is nobody can earn money from telling someone to go for a walk in nature. There's not a lot of money that can be earned when you say, do a guided meditation. Well, let's just chuck a 10-minute meditation on YouTube and listen to it. It doesn't cost people money to do these things. Like the list, a gratitude list for me is the most effective thing to get yourself in the right mind frame each day. Right? Write 5 things you're grateful for, why, and just repeat thank you after that. You will start to connect new neurons in the brain, and so all these little things. Big Pharma's not pushing that because
there's no money in it.
There's no money in it, right? So there's big corporate companies, they ain't going to push it because there's no money in it. So the education side of things, what we're trying to do combined, I genuinely believe that we will push statistics down in these coming years. I really believe that. I believe that, and we've got to have that belief in what we're doing, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I'm really excited to kind of be part of that, because again, it's just.
To be honest with you, I don't think that work as well without that. Sorry, I don't think it does, because the money aspect is so important in terms of if you look at the numbers, everyone's struggling right now. We're all 2 paychecks away from homelessness, right?
Well, 100%, and I think it's about £116 a week. That, say for instance, if you're off work, you can't work, self-employed, no one can live off that. Do you know what I mean? And I think, like you said, it's 2 paychecks away. But I also think one of the other things is when you talk about sort of money worries and things like that, is you often think, right, okay, someone's living hand to mouth, and they don't have a house or don't have a home. And you've also, like, other people kind of, if they've got the house, they're worried about losing it. And I think a lot of people kind of, I call it ostrich syndrome, where you just bury your head. And I think it's trying to get the message out there to do something before it becomes a problem. It's having that partner to go, right, I'll get this sorted for you. You don't even have to look at it. Actually, full well this and this is sorted without you having to do it. And then again, all of a sudden in your head, you've got capacity for something else. Because I think looking into mental health and having experienced different bits throughout my life, it's like the bucket scenario. If, say for instance, someone can take that away from you, but if your bucket is absolutely full to the brim and someone's carrying on pouring cups and cups and cups and cups into it, that's when it kind of pops.
But it's trying to find a solution before that bucket starts to overfill, which what you're saying.
Prevention, right? Rather than reaction.
Exactly, and it goes down to putting the work in. That is the most important thing, right? You've got to put the work in, and whether that's going for a run or whether that's checking your finances.
But sometimes that's scary.
Yeah, but it is.
Because whether it's finances, whether it's losing weight, whether it's any type of kind of stress or strain or depression, anxiety, like the first step's always the hardest, isn't it? Say for instance, oh shit, I don't know, my car insurance is going up.
Yeah.
And you're I've got to sort it out. It's a hell of a lot easier to just pull that band-aid off, or plaster. We're in the UK, sorry. That phrase has become band-aid rather than plaster.
I say it as well,
to pull that plaster off, because it's the uncomfortableness of, oh shit, that's going to create more hassle.
Yeah.
And I think, that's the one bit of advice. Proactive rather than reactive.
Yeah. Deal with this shit. Just deal with it.
But like,
it's only going to multiply.
One of our company values, we've got 3. So we got communicate. It's a case of whether that's you and your client, you and us, or whoever. like if you look at any relationship, boyfriend, wife, husband, whatever, or business relationship or employee, 9 times out of 10 that is cocked up because there's no communication. Educate, because we want to just educate everyone to do better. And then the last one is just fucking do it. There's no pissing around.
Yeah.
Guys, if that needs, you might have to have an awkward conversation with someone. Just do it.
Yeah, I always say that within Speak, within the community that we're building, is having the awkward conversations early. The uncomfortable ones, once they get out of the way, it helps everything just move along so much easier.
Yeah,
the whole time you're carrying that shit and you're suppressing your problems, it's just gonna creep up and up and up, and all of a sudden out of nowhere, you'll end up blowing up at your partner or your business partner or your friend when actually we all have, right? We all have.
Because you always end up taking it on the ones that are closest to you.
Yeah,
and then,
yeah.
And then not there for you if you're, you kind of snapping it left, right,
yeah, exactly. So look, the conversations that we're having right now they're so important. I think that's the most important thing in our world right now is to be having this conversation around mental health.
100%.
Statistics going up. If we were all better mentally, projects and social will be done better. Relationships will be done better. People will be able to see more sense a lot easier.
Well, it's like the well-oiled machine runs better than one that's not.
Exactly, and it all starts in the mind, right? So this is the most important thing for us. We're very much aligned on what we're trying to achieve for 26. This has been good to get to a site together today and to get a bit of drone footage and meet your team as well. That's been lovely. Give me a highlight from today, from this afternoon session that we've done. Obviously, delivering a mental health talk. Can't say burgers.
I mean, yeah, the burgers are amazing. The burgers were smashing. No, the burgers are awesome. I think it's one of those things, and I think having spoke to you about it, this wasn't a massive site today.
No.
There's 22, 23 guys there, and even if you, that's the thing, even if, say for instance, you can help one person, that's one person more than you would have
job done
before.
It really is, yeah.
But it's the 1%. If you improve by something by 1% every single day, how good does that become over a week?
Yeah.
How good does it become over a year? How good does it become? And I think it's the same with you guys. We want to kind of reach out to as many people as possible because there's power in numbers, right?
Yeah.
And the more people you speak to, the more people you influence, the more people you're able to help. And hopefully, it just becomes this big movement where, all of a sudden you then got advocates within your community that help and just spread the word.
And that's why for us it's about collaboration over competition. I say that all the time, is because we can meet more people when we collaborate. I can use my strengths against your weaknesses and vice versa, your strengths against my weaknesses. And the fact is, for mental health, if you're going to be in this space, you've got to leave ego at the door. Because you can't build something for you. You've got to be building it for them. And if you have that mentality, then you can work with other charities. Like, we have people join our group. I might not be their cup of tea. You're not going to be able to get on with everybody.
Yeah.
They might not be ready to just fucking get on and do it and get on with it and pull their own socks up. And if they're not, we will gladly signpost them to another group. But for what we're doing, it's solution focused. Well, I'm not an expert in meditation. I wouldn't say I'm an expert in financial literacy now, although I could say, previous experience. But if we can bring in the experts and we can, and have a holistic, natural approach, and then, think of how many more people we can meet. Think of more people that we can.
More people we can help.
Exactly. This is it. Yeah. So no, listen, Kris, it's been a pleasure meeting you and the team today, and I'm excited for 26.
Yeah, I think just sort of final piece from me.
Of course.
If you are part of that Speak community, and if there is any issues you've got, or even positive ones, you want to go right, we'll help. Like we said, our pledge for next year is that moving forward, as Speak becomes a charity and it's all well established, we're going to start making kind of those contributions, because obviously we want to give back. So if you're within the Speak community, then reach out. I'm sure you guys will have all the different comms and things like that within it, because we want to just help as many people as we can.
And we will be, once we register our charity, then we'll be able to do a proper launch of the new partnership for 26 as well, which should be coming in the next month or two.
Good stuff. It's going to be an exciting year.
It is, Chris.
Let's get Christmas out of the way.
Exactly.